Welcome to Finding Holiness, where we delve into timeless Torah wisdom, revealing the sacred in everyday moments. Join us on a journey to elevate your spirituality and discover holiness in every aspect of life. I'm your host, Rabbi David Kadosh, and together, let's embark on a path of spiritual exploration. I hope you enjoy this next episode. Okay, we are continuing with Masechet Yevamot, Perek Tetva, the 15th chapter. The last two chapters of this Masechet, 15 and 16, deal with the concept of an aguna. An aguna is a woman who is unsure of what their status of her husband is. We think we don't know who he is. He could be dead, he could be not. And how to establish that a man has died so that we can permit the wife to remarry. Because if there's no evidence or there's no testimony that a man has died, then the wife remains an aguna and she cannot remarry. So this is what we're going to be speaking about for the last couple of prakim. So Mishnah Aleph says, Ha'isha shehalcha hi ubala limdinat hayam. If a woman went with her husband to Las Vegas or some other place overseas, Shalom beno lebeina. And as far as we know, when they left, they were on good terms. Everything was fine. V'shalom ba'olam. And not only that, wherever they went, there was peace. Meaning they didn't go to Ukraine and Russia, right? They weren't there, on the front lines or whatever. There was peace. Ubata ve'amra met bali. And she came back and she said, my husband's dead. He died. Tinase, she's believed, even though she's one person. She's believed, and she can get married again. And if she had no children, met bali titiabem. She can also, if she says my husband died and she had no children, she then now performs yibum with her brother. Now, the reason why we believe her, we learned earlier in the Masechet, beginning of Perek Yud, the first Mishnah, a whole bunch of penalties that a woman would get for lying, or not lying, but if indeed she was to remarry somebody and the husband comes back. Remember that Mishnah? And all the things all the penalties that come to her. She loses her ketubah for one, a lot of really bad things. So she wouldn't put herself in that predicament if she wasn't telling the truth. Besides the fact that to lie about someone's death, eventually it's going to be exposed as a lie when the person decides to show up again. So again, why would you put yourself through that? So we believe the wife. Now, Shalom beno lebena umilchama ba'olam. But when they went to Las Vegas, there was peace between them, but there was milchama in the world, meaning there was war wherever it was. People lives matter. Everybody riots in the streets. Or ketata beno lebena v'shalom ba'olam. Or when they left, there was a big fight between them. There was conflict, and there was peace in the world. Ubata ve'amra met bali, and then she came back and she said, my husband died, and a name in it. In this case, she's not believed. She cannot remarry. If she hated her husband, then she might be lying about his death because she wants to free herself so that she can get remarried to somebody else. And if there's a state of war, then she might be confused. Maybe, they got lost in Ukraine somewhere, and she thinks she's dead, but really he's not dead. So this is the opinion of the Tanna Kama. Rabbi Yehuda says, "Leolam ena ne'emenet ela im ken bata bocha uvgadea keroin." Rabbi Yehuda says she's never believed unless she comes back crying with her clothing torn as a sign of mourning. Meaning, just for her to say that my husband died, that isn't enough. She needs to publicly display signs of avelut, and that's evidence that she's telling the truth. That's Rabbi Yehuda. Amru lo chacham. What? I'm sorry. She could be totally right. Amru lo. The chachamim told Rabbi Yehuda, achatzu v'achatzu tinaseh. Both a woman who is displaying signs of avelut and a woman who is not displaying signs of avelut, she can remarry. They hold like the Tanna Kama. Okay. Mishnah Bet. Bet Hillel Omrim. Bet Hillel, with regard to everything that we said over here, Lo shamanu. Okay, there's a preface to this Mishnah. We just said that a woman can remarry based on her own testimony that her husband died, and that came as a result of an incident that took place. Maaseh she'aya in the Gemara, of a man died from a snake bite while harvesting grain, and the wife came to a nearby court and she testified, my husband died through a snake bite, and they checked it out and they confirmed that indeed that's what happened, and the court allowed her to get remarried. Now, this Mishnah that we're going to say now, Bet Hillel wants to hold it's only in those same circumstances that we would allow a woman or believe her testimony so that she can get remarried. Bet Hillel omrim, lo shamanu ela beva'a min hakatzir. We only heard that the Chachamim allowed a woman to remarry based on her own testimony when she comes back from the grain harvest, like that situation with the guy who got bit by the snake. And that he died nearby in the same country. Because that's what happened in that similarly that the Chachamim permitted her to get married. But in other situations, she wouldn't be able to get remarried based on her testimony. Amru lahen Bet Shammai. So Bet Shammai said to Bet Hillel, you can't possibly mean to say that it's only in that situation. Ahata ba min hakatzir, where the woman comes from a grain harvest, or ve'achata ba min hazetim, or she comes from harvesting olives, ve'achata ba min habatzir, or whether she comes from harvesting grapes, she's believed. Ve'achata ba min dina limdina, and so too, even if she comes from one country to another country. Lo dibru chachamim bakatzir ela ba'oveh. Chachamim only said bakatzir because that's just the story that took place. But it doesn't mean that if he was harvesting olives, they wouldn't have been posek the same law. And the Mishnah that says Chazru Bet Hillel leorot ke Bet Shammai. Bet Hillel retracted. You're right, and they agreed with Bet Shammai. Not often that this happens, but it does happen where Bet Hillel says, "Okay, we got a Bet Shammai. We're going to hold like you. We're going to hold like you this time." The next Mishnah is another situation. Bet Shammai omrim. Bet Shammai says in this situation, Tinaseh v'titol ketubata. The woman who testified that her husband died, she can remarry and collect her ketubah. She goes to collect her ketubah from the heirs, her sons, and that's a widow's right. Bet Hillel omrim. Bet Hillel says Tinaseh velo titol ketubata. Bet Hillel says, sorry, but you cannot take your money. We will give you permission to remarry, but we don't allow you to take money because normally the testimony of a wife is not usually valid. We're only accepting it in order to allow her to remarry. We don't want to keep her single her whole life, but to claim the ketubah, you need two valid witnesses. Right, for that your husband is dead. That's the only way that we can give you the ketubah. That's what Bet Hillel says. Amru lahen Bet Shammai. Shammai had a good argument. Bet Shammai said to Bet Hillel, Hitartem irva hamura. You permitted a serious matter, an irva hamura, a forbidden relationship. You allowed her to get married. That you allowed. That was fine for you. Lo tatiru et hamamon hakel. Are you not going to allow the money? What's the money? The money is something small. To allow her to get remarried, that's huge. Right? You're holding back the money. So if you allow her to get remarried and the husband's still alive, it's adultery. So why do you care so much about the money? Amru lahen Bet Hillel. Bet Hillel had a nice response. Bet Hillel says back, Matzinu she'en ha'achim nichnasim lenachala al piyah. The brothers of the husband can't come into inheritance based on her word. It doesn't work like that. The only way the brothers can now inherit, or the sons, any other inheritors, inherit what the husband died, it can't come as a result of just the fact that she got up and said, my husband died. There needs to be two valid witnesses. So at the same time, I can't give this woman her ketubah just based on the fact that she said, my husband died while we were out of town. Amru lahen Bet Shammai. Bet Shammai said to Bet Hillel, "V'alo misefer ketubata nilmod." But look at what's written in the actual text of the ketubah. That's going to give you your answer. That's where we're going to learn that she could collect based on her own testimony. Shehu kotevla, the husband writes in the ketubah, she'im tinas'i le'acher titeli mal shekatuv lichi. When you're eligible to marry somebody else, you can take what's written for you in this document. And guess what? Now she's eligible to marry someone else. You allowed her to marry someone else based on her testimony that her husband died. So now she can take the money that is rightfully hers. So Bet Hillel then retracted their statement and held like Bet Shammai. Hakol Mishnah Daled, one more Mishnah. Hakol ne'emanim leha'ida. Everyone is believed to testify for a wife that her husband died, even people that are not usually accepted as witnesses. That's why the aguna, we try as much as we can to find anybody that claims that they saw the husband died. Chutz mehamota, except for the following 5 women. Number 1, her mother-in-law. Bat hamota, her husband's sister, which is her mother-in-law's daughter. Tzarata, her co-wife. Yebimtam, her sister-in-law, that's the wife of her husband's brother. Ubat bala, and her stepdaughter. See, these 5 women often hate the wife, right? That's what usually happens. So they're not believed to testify that the husband died just in order that she goes and marries somebody else. All right, but these same 5 women are believed if they bring the wife a get from out of town. Okay, they bring over here a get, a divorce from your husband, they are believed. So the Mishnah asks, Ma ben get lemita. What's the difference between a get, where these 5 women are allowed, and the death, where we say we don't believe these 5 women? So the Mishnah says, Shaketav mochiach. The get itself tells the truth. There's a get, there's signatures. What more do you want over here? Before, it's a word of mouth. Here we have an actual physical document that is telling you that divorced. Last case of the Mishnah says, Ed Omer met beniset. If one witness said that the man died and the wife remarried, or was given permission to remarry based on that testimony, Uba acher ve'amar lo met. And then somebody else came and said, no, he didn't die. No, he was there playing slots. I saw him playing slots in Vegas. Hare lo tetzeh. The wife does not have to leave the second husband. Once the court granted her permission to remarry, okay, there she doesn't have to. She doesn't lose her permission to remarry, and she doesn't leave her husband. Ed omer met ushnaim omrim lo met. But if one witness said that the husband died, and 2 witnesses said that he did not die, af al pi sheniset tetzeh. Even if the wife already remarried, she must leave her new husband, because 2 witnesses have more credibility than 1 witness, so therefore their testimony is believed. Shnaim omri met ve'ed omer lo met. So too, at the same, using the same situation, just the opposite. If 2 witnesses say that he died and 1 said that he didn't die, afal pi shelo niseh tinaseh. Even if she had not remarried, she is allowed to remarry, because a single witness is not permitted to contradict the testimony of 2 witnesses.